Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a 105 leFH18B2, the French Tier 5 premium SPG that we know as a Fifi La Pew Pew and other people know as a leFH or a leaf blower. leFH means light field howitzer. It's a light field howitzer mounted on top of a Char B1 hull, and this one's located on the south spawn of Cliff and it's under the command of Running Hawk. Now, you may have just seen him in action on Abbey, and this time he's on Cliff. Now, it's the same gun, 410 Alpha, with 53mm of penetration and 1.91 meters burst radius. He's gone to the bushes to get some cover, and he's now looking for an enemy tank, and he's aiming straight for the Western Pass. Now, there's normally somebody who's brave enough to try and get through the Western Pass and up near the donut. Start of the battle. Nobody in sight so far, because I'm afraid nobody from his team is close enough to the Western Pass to see what's going on. Just the VK3001H is moving up. Meanwhile, up on the centre of the map, an enemy tank has been seen. It's a Panzer T25, which is a tank that never actually got put into production but was proposed by the Czechs. Something they put together. He fires one round but pulls away before he gets to see what happens to the shell. We always tell people don't do that, because otherwise you don't get to let us see what happens in the battle. All we get to see is you shooting at things and then pulling away before we get to see what the results were. And that's very unsatisfying for the viewer, and we do get viewers' complaints if people do it, and understandably so, because who wants to see somebody firing a gun all the time? Anyone can do that. We want to see results. Panzer T25 went up almost as if he's going to try and go up the hill, but he's using it to look out. Now, he wasn't fully dialed in there, and as a consequence, he actually didn't get the shot on target. The shell fell short, and again he pulls away. Running Hawk, first warning, don't do this, because if you do, we'll have to stop doing your videos. I do warn the people who submit these videos, if you do something like pull away after firing so we get denied the view, then obviously there's no point in us doing the video, because you're not going to see anything. When he hits the Stug and he sets him alight, but a premium fire extinguisher went off and the Stug's dead. So he did kill that T67 on the second attempt. He's now gone back up to that Panzer T25. The enemy acted very, very rashly by driving forwards into open area to shoot at our guys. You saw him pull back again after shooting as a second or so ago. I hope he's not getting into the habit of doing that. Fires around at the OI. This time around he stays with it, and it landed just underneath the front of the vehicle, did some damage. Rounds out in the OI again. OIs and TOGs, they're like mobile pinatas. You just keep firing at them until you extract all the meaty goodness that's inside, and then that gives you a hefty damage score for the game. And points means prizes. Yes, you get lots of credits for hitting these tanks. Okay, Churchill 1, work out where he's going. Fires the round in. No, shell veered to the right. People keep saying, oh, well, the Fifi's an OP tank. Well, yes, but it gets very bad RNG sometimes. 56 hit points from that one. It was bang on target in terms of the aim, but and he's done it again. He's pulled back after shooting, and he's going to a different target. Rounds out the VK. Misses him with the first shot. Rounds out. Nice hit, 122, and the VK's dead. There's nobody between Running Hawk and the enemy at the moment. I don't think he's realised that. But if somebody was to come down the western side of the map, nobody there to stop them. And he'd be the first one to notice that they'd come. There might be some guys up on the cliff who might get an idea that the enemy's there, but I'm not sure he realises how much danger he's in at the moment. We've lost sight of the enemy. Oh, there's the one. Panzer 3-4. Or 3-4, we should say. Panzer 3-4. And the Churchill one's been seen, but he's a difficult shot because he's actually directly behind that rock. Nope, can't see him now. Lost sight of him. Now you can see Running Hawk's loaded a lot of heat ammunition as usual, and he is actually now running short on HE. And HE is the preferred shell for these Arty because otherwise the heat ammunition, which is very expensive, he's loading a heat round now, and he's fired it. That's just going to make an expensive hole in the ground, and it does. They're 4,000 credits a shot, you see, so you only really want to fire an heat round at something you know you're going to penetrate. He's lining up the shot in the OI, rounds out on him. Long range, lands to one side. He's firing HE again. That's better. 96. He's firing a very long distance. It's nearly 4/5 of the battlefield. And we just saw a tracer from somebody up on the hill. Looks like there's an enemy tank up there. Fired at that little dip because he thought someone was in there. There is an enemy Arty in the game, and it's a gorilla. Oh! No, I just saw that again. Rounds out in that spot. Nope. Something's there. Because we're seeing smoke tracers come out of it, and the smoke tracers look like it is an Arty. He's actually now focusing on that bush, and yes, there is something in the bush. And he hit it, and it was the gorilla. It did look like the slow shell of an Arty. Arty shells are slow, they're HE. And it does have a slower tracer than the others. He fires at the Panzer 3-4. As he pulls back. Nope. Lost sight of him. It's a reduced numbers game, this one. At the moment, the score is 7-6, but there's 5 tanks left on our team and 4 tanks left on the enemy team. The Panzer T25 went up the Western Pass and is now approaching the enemy cap area. We know there's no Arty left on the enemy team, but there's 2 heavies, the OI and the Churchill, and 2 mediums, the Panzer 3-4 and the Panzer T25. Well, Running Hawk's decided that he needs to move. Of course, most Arty players know where their W key is. It's a bit of a joke actually to say we don't know where our keys are and we just sit at the back all day firing. We do move. Normally it's during the end game though. Rounds out in the Panzer T25. I think that was a little late because he was moving at the moment he pressed the fire button. 7.51 is the reload time on this Arty. It is quite a fast reload, but then this is the premium Arty, and there's only 2 premium Artys in the game, which is shocking considering how many hundreds of premium vehicles that Wargaming sells, that they only sell 2 premium Arty. You'd think that they would know that there's lots of Arty that they could sell, because they sell huge amounts of the Fifi. Okay, he's now loading heat rounds, which is going to be expensive. And he's suddenly seen the OI side on. He fires around, but the guy moved. He hit him, but didn't pen. Going now for the Churchill. Rounds out on him. And he kills him. Now, the heat rounds, they can do 350 alpha, but they've got 104 millimeters of penetration, so they're much more likely to pen a target. He's actually firing heat at this guy. He should be firing HE, and he doesn't realize he's loaded the wrong ammo. And that Panzer T25 on our team is going to die. Yeah, the Panzer T25 on the enemy team got him. You've loaded the wrong ammo. He fires a heat round at that guy. I expect that Running Hawk's actually going to get rather an expensive bill at the end of the game. It appears that he's got the high caliber, but he's spent so much on buying all this heat ammo, and well, all the profit from the game's probably going to go in paying for the replacement of all that heat ammo. He's decided to go defensive, so he's going to hide in this corner with the rock covering him in amongst the bushes. He's got a 390 meter view range, so he can see the enemy before the enemy sees him. The Stug 3G is up on the TD nest. The T67 is just below him. Not the best place for him to be. He's now just going to sit it out and wait for the arrival of the enemy. And here comes the Panzer III-4. And he fires a round in and it doesn't connect. And the Panzer III-4 rams him and is firing into him. But he's a heavy tank and he just wipes him out with one round. But now he's kind of stuck in there. That's better. The enemy knows where he is. But of course the enemy Arty's gone. So there's not a lot they can do about that. And he still loaded another heat round. He's lost over half of his hit points. Only got 141 left now. Don't get a whole lot of hit points with this tank, but it is basically, remember, a Char B1 with a light field howitzer on top of it. So they only made 16 of these, and we don't know where they all ended up during World War II. Some say that they were in the Channel Islands, and others say they were sent to Russia and all lost. I like to think that they were possibly in the Channel Islands or in France, because obviously the major advantage of this tank was that it was French. And it's on the French tech tree, but it's actually a German vehicle. And the Germans would have needed spare parts, and it would have been much easier for them to get those spare parts in France than in Russia, even though they could manufacture them up there. Misses with the first round. He's going to have another chance with the side of the vehicle. Oh, that was a good one. That definitely penned. Low roll though. Fires another one in. It's another hit. The OI's on his last legs now. Now let it dial in fully before you shoot. That's it. Oh, hit the wrong angle. Heat rounds don't normalise, and therefore they don't sort of like convert to the right angle to go through the metal. They just activate at whatever angle they're hitting. And that one worked. Loaded the HE and it worked first time. And that was the end of the game. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats. It's an ace tanker for Running Hawk in the 105 leFH18B2. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He managed to get 5 in this one. Just one short of getting a Top Gun. He also got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 16. A Gore's medal for doing more damage than 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle. A Stark's medal for killing at least 2 enemy tanks, receiving at least 2 enemy hits, and blocking damage or causing damage that would have caused damage at least 2/3 of his hit points, and surviving the battle, and also got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. And his win rate from that one was 10,238, which is Super Unicum standard. So let's have a look at the team scores, and you can see it was a reduced numbers game. There were some bots in the game, yes, I'm afraid, to make up the numbers. And, well, Running Hawk got the highest damage in the game with 2,956, but the Panzer T25 did give him a good run for his money with 2,339 hit points. The next high scorer was the Panzer T25 on his team, 1,273. Unfortunately, he got tracked, and that Panzer III-4 made lots of circles around him, taking him out. Well, the Panzer T25 took him out from above. When it came to kills, it was Running Hawk again with 5 kills, 3 kills to the Panzer T25, 2 kills to the VK3001H. And when it came to base XP, yes, he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,249 base for Running Hawk, 719 to the Panzer T25, I should say, and 633 to the Panzer T25 on its own team. He fired 43 rounds in that game, got 20 direct hits, 6 penetration, 18 splash. Damage of 2,956 hit points, of which 2,551 were up more than 300 meters. The difference being obviously that Panzer drive here that did get to him and rammed him, but obviously rammed him was a big mistake because he's a heavy tank. And if you ram a medium tank into a heavy tank, the medium tank takes the damage, not the other way around. 2 hits received, yes, 1 penetration, 1 non-penetration, and he blocked damage 110 hit points in total, and I think that's what gave him the 2/3 damage, or blocked 2/3, to actually get the Stark's medal. 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 5 killed, and 326 hit points of damage assistance. On a premium count, he earned 65,021 credits from that game, but after ammunition resupply and repair, he actually only made 16,256 because he fired a huge amount of heat rounds, and he didn't really need to do that. And I would suggest that he carry less heat, more HE, and maybe a couple of armor piercing rounds as well, because armor piercing does have quite a nice effect on enemy tanks that are immobilized, so you know you can definitely hit them. 1,873 XP, 750 for this being a premium vehicle, and took away 2,623 altogether. Again, I must also emphasize to Running Hawk, don't pull away after you fire so we don't get to see what happens to the shot. And I mean this most sincerely. I know it's easy to accidentally hit the wrong key on your mouse or whatever to flip you back into standard view from aim mode, so you don't get to see what happens to the shell. I've done that a lot just recently because I've got a new mouse. But if you pull away deliberately after firing a shot and we get denied sight of what actually happens to the shell, we won't be able to handle your replays from there on in, simply because I'm afraid that we're not going to see anything to do with the battle. All we're going to see is you firing and then results come up on the screen, and people don't want to see that. They want to see if you actually got a blind hit, or if you did hit the target, or if you missed the target altogether. They do want to see the action. They don't want to see just empty space. So please don't do that, otherwise we'll just have to stop using your replays from there on in. So if you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.